By now, you probably heard about how amazing autophagy is for extending lifespan, improving all chronic-based disease, and even killing cancer cells before they begin to grow larger. The majority of ways to take advantage of autophagy are actually through fasting. That means 12 to 16 hours overnight, and maybe once a week a longer 24-hour fast, and quarterly even a little bit longer. But what if there was a way to increase autophagy without having to skip meals or extend your fast? I don't know about you, but I actually enjoy eating food, so I looked into the research and I found that there are 7 main ways to improve autophagy, cleaning the cellular debris in our body, reducing chances for cancer without having to fast. Let's check those out right now. If you've never seen what the process of autophagy looks like, it's pretty amazing. So we start with all of this cellular debris. Now, when we're not eating, we have these phagocytes that go into the body, and just like Pac-Man, which I talked about in my first book, The Rain Barrel Effect, it goes in and it begins to literally clean up all of the old necrotic tissue, dead cells, and even cancer cells that are forming. So this is the beginning of that Pac-Man right here, right? And it's going to go in and it's going to eat up all of that debris inside. And then it's going to be able to remove it through the body through detoxification. So a pretty powerful process, which is how the body can work. Literally, if we look at autophagy, it means self-eating or self-cleaning, right? Self is auto, and phagy is going to be the cleaning process of the body or eating process. So when more is coming in, the body's then able to use what's inside of the body. It's absolutely remarkable, and that is why intermittent fasting, when done right, is truly one of the closest things we have to the fountain of youth. Okay, so let's dive in. How do we get autophagy without having to fast? The first one is through exercise, specifically short-term zone 2. So that means brisk walk, bike rides, lighter jogging, keeping that heart rate at a steady state of about 110 to 130 for about 30 minutes at a time. That is a great way to improve cellular cleanup, and in the long run, it's actually resistance training. So why resistance training is so important is that your body, when you work out with weights or even just pushing your body towards failure, there are micro tears in the muscles. Those muscles then need repair. It also activates certain white blood cells for cleanup. It's a great way to continue the autophagy-based process. So never overlook the power of exercise in both aerobic, zone 2, and anaerobic resistance training. 2 days a week to 3 days a week of resistance training, about 3 days a week or so, maybe 4 if you can do it, of aerobic-based training. Never count out the 10,000 steps a day. That's the gold standard. Number 2 is going to be sleep. The majority of your cleanup happens overnight when you're sleeping. It's one reason why you want to stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. It will change your energy and literally change your life if you stop eating 3 hours before bed. Now, again, that's for 99% of people. There's always a contraindication, right? If you have adrenal fatigue, which is chronic fatigue syndrome, or Addison's disease, or an issue where you can't control blood sugars properly and energy, I totally get it, right? That's different. But for 99% of people, stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. You'll improve your heart rate variability. Your resting heart rate will go down. Everything will improve. And you'll be able to get in autophagy when the most important zone takes place, which is 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That is the sweet spot. It's when deep sleep is most likely to occur and deeper levels of getting into self-cleanup. So it's extremely important that we get to bed when our cortisol levels drop and we stay asleep during that time. I know it's not perfect. I know you might be working a job right now where you need to stay up later. You're simply going to do your best. That's it. Okay. The next one right here is going to be number 3, and that is lower constant snacking. That means that if you're always eating and blood sugar is always up, and insulin typically follows blood sugar, when insulin's up, the problem is AMPK and autophagy are going to be low. They're on literally a teeter-totter. So let's look at it this way. This right here is AMPK and autophagy. Eating, snacking, and mTOR are over here. When we push down on the eating side, AMPK and autophagy go up. That means they're not really active. However, when mTOR is low, not eating, not snacking, intermittent fasting, well, that is when AMPK and autophagy can push down harder, a stronger lever. So that is a big part of the equation. And keep in mind, if you're following the 3 meals per day, you're able to go in and out of elevations of blood sugar from a normal level only 3 times during the day if this is your baseline. So the nice thing is you're not totally out of autophagy when you're in these low points during the day. Let's say this is 8, 12, and let's say this is 5:30 or so. You're able then to stay in it overnight and in between meals. So the goal is get enough protein, follow my 30-10-3 video. If you haven't checked out before, that is the way to structure your nutritional plan. Now, you can choose whatever foods work best for you, but follow the 30-10-3 rule. That will enable you to balance your blood sugar levels and then dip back into autophagy throughout the day. It's not going to be as deep as it is overnight when you're fasting, no doubt about that, or over a 24-hour fast, but it will be if you can bring those blood sugar levels down. All right, number 4 is polyphenols. Believe it or not, just the brightly colored fruits and vegetables, all the different berries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, cherries, brightly colored fruits and vegetables enable you to push yourself into a state of autophagy. They will help with cellular cleanup. They actually provide a little bit of a stress on the body that enables you to clean house to a better degree, and they help squelch oxidative stress and free radical damage. Absolutely incredible. I wrote down a few of the more powerful ones though as well. So get your 7 to 9 servings of fruits and veggies every day. One of the best things you can do to extend your lifespan. That's based on real hard science. But green tea, which contains EGCG, 2 to 3 cups a day, can be really powerful. Curcumin, great to cook with, or even add a little bit of powder to your smoothie. Resveratrol and quercetin. All 4 of those are compounds that have been shown to improve autophagy. It's also why they're used typically in a lot of cancer support protocols. Phenomenal for enabling blood flow to the areas they should be and not to the areas they shouldn't be. I'll keep it at that. Number 5 is controlling mTOR. This is really important. mTOR increases with protein intake. I know this is a little bit controversial, not for the science, but for a lot of diets that people follow. And again, I would like to bring you the unbiased truth. If you are always eating meat and flesh-based foods, yes, it is great for putting on muscle, and it's great for body transformation, but that doesn't mean it's great for longevity, and it doesn't mean it's great for overall health. It increases the more leucine and specific amino acids you get that are higher in meat, especially red meat, the higher mTOR. Now, mTOR, think of it as anabolic. It helps you build up the body. So great for putting on muscle. No doubt about it. I'm not disagreeing with that. The problem is we need to have balance in life. If the body's always growing, what else could be growing? Maybe cancer cells, maybe increasing inflammation, not allowing for this, right? There has to be balance. So what studies have found over and over is that even if you include some plant-based proteins into your diet, let me give you an example. Let's say you did a smoothie at breakfast, some wild berries, some pea protein, whatever you like. At lunch, let's say you had a cup of chickpeas or cannellini beans, black beans, whatever it is, some veggies, a little sweet potato. You made yourself a really nice and protein-based lunch. And then at dinner, you had your salmon or chicken or bison or elk or whatever you enjoy. The first half of the day that's plant-based protein, you actually stay in lower levels of autophagy. Why? Because mTOR never gets as high. Now, it's not going to build muscle in the same way. I totally agree with that. I completely agree. So you eventually need to decide, is the goal to build larger biceps, and if so, for how long? Or is the goal at some point to live a longer, healthier life and still be in shape? I chose the latter eventually. Once I got into my early 40s, I said, you know what? I need to be able to maintain overall health and lifestyle and inflammation for the next 40, 50 plus years. And my goal is to be healthy for my family, my team, our community, myself, to live a good, healthy life. At some point, there is a decision to be made. The next one is going to be heat and cold exposure, a great way to create adaptive stress, which improves autophagy. I prefer sauna over cold plunge, but both can be great in improving autophagy. Sauna looks like about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, really maximum, 4 to 5 days a week if possible. 2 or 3 is okay. Great studies on that as well. 4 to 5, double the results. So it's pretty fantastic. Not just double the time, because you don't always get double the results. Like with exercise, if you go from 2 to 3 strength training workouts a week to 5, you don't get double the results. Like that just doesn't happen. With sauna, you do. If you go from 2 to 4, you're going to get double the results in terms of cardiovascular and all-cause mortality. All right, cold plunge, pretty simple. About 3 minutes, 5 minutes maximum for about 3 to 4 times per week. That's all you need. I will say that there's better research behind heat exposure than there is cold, but both can create adaptive stress, no doubt about it, because of hormetic stress or hormesis. So they both do work. The last one I want to share with you is circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm doesn't necessarily increase autophagy, but it helps to rebalance it and tell it when to work. If you wake too light, or you see the morning sunlight because you're on a walk, and those rays, blue light specifically, penetrates your eyes, blue and green, it's going to tell your body, time to wake up, time to increase cortisol, thyroid's up, testosterone's up in the morning, it's time to start the day. Amazing. But equally amazing is turning off the overhead lights at night, putting on your amber lights in the house or your blue light blocking glasses or both, and walking at night and seeing the sunset. When you do that, the pineal gland signals time to lower cortisol to a greater degree and increase melatonin. If no food's really in the system, because it's already moved through the stomach, it's been a few hours, and melatonin begins to rise, now the body begins to clean house during that 10 to 2 hour. One of the best things that you can do is begin to live in the rhythms of this world. We wake up around the time when the sun rises, plus or minus an hour or so, and we go to bed a couple hours after the sun sets, plus or minus, let's say, a half hour to stay within a sleep schedule. For most people, it looks like somewhere around 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. That is a natural hormonal rhythm. Going to bed when the sun sets, stopping eating when the sun sets, beginning our day when the sun rises. One of the easiest ways to begin to get back energy in the morning and restful sleep in the evening. These 7 tips are the key to increase in autophagy without always having to be in a fasted state. Intermittent fasting is absolutely incredible. I do recommend it from about 6 o'clock or so at night to 8 in the morning, but there are also other amazing ways to increase it through these 7 tips. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, always feel free to share it with a friend. Subscribe to the show so you do not miss our twice a week YouTube video exclusives. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.